Teresa?
You bet. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Teresa Hunsaker with Utah State University Extension Family and Consumer Science Agent in Weber County, and it's nice to have all of you here today to talk about cleaning. I can't believe we've got so many here interested in cleaning. But we are going to be talking about homemade household cleaners, and I want to address this from a whole bunch of different angles and subject areas as far as cleaning is concerned. To start off with, though, the first thing that I want to do is I want to suggest that I'm not trying to replace some of your favorite household cleaners, because I know that each of you probably have favorites. But what I'm trying to show, and some of the things that I do in my classes, is to let people know that they have options, and especially when you're in a pinch and you've run out of one of your favorites, that you probably have things on hand that can be used. And especially for those who are working with our limited and low income audiences, it's really nice to be able to economically have these products on hand and save a little bit of money here and there. So we're going to address that from a whole bunch of different standpoints. The first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about those products. I want to talk about some of those that we have on hand that are so inexpensive. One of the very first ones, and for those of you who are able to access the handout, you will have this on your handout, is baking soda. Now, I buy baking soda in bulk, like big bulk, because I use it all of the time. But when I'm looking at the straight economics of this, even one small box of baking soda is only about 50 cents in the grocery store, especially if I'm watching for it. I've even found it on occasion for 3 for $1. So I love baking soda. Baking soda is wonderful for a small scrub kind of job, nothing real intense. It's not abrasive, but it also works for all kinds of different stains, and we're going to talk about some of those in just a little while. So I love baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate. One of the things that I've done when I taught this class at the Food Sense conference last year was I had the group, and for those who are going to be teaching this, could even have your group do this, list all of the things that we do or can do, they know to do with baking soda outside of baking. So we've heard that baking soda is a great breath freshener, a teeth whitener, those kinds of things as far as even personal care, on down to if I didn't have deodorant, I could powder my underarms with some baking soda if I wanted to do that. But as far as cleaning, what are all of the things that we've heard that baking soda is good for? This is where you can respond as if you were in class. Oh, you are in class. What are some things that you've seen baking soda used for in cleaning? Class?
I've heard it in laundry.
Laundry, good. Okay, what does it do for the laundry? Does it soften the water a little bit?
It does, and it makes your clothes smell. And I think it helps to release some of that soap stuff.
It helps to release some of the soap scum. It helps to get odors out. It helps to soften the water. So baking soda is wonderful just in the laundry. What about scrubbing out toilets and grout and tubs and sinks and things like that? Wonderful for that. So I love baking soda, and I'm going to look at a few solutions today that use baking soda in the recipes. Okay, another one that I love, and I again buy it by, this is actually not a gallon, but I buy it by the gallon, is white vinegar. A lot of people don't realize that white vinegar is also a disinfectant. So I love it for the fact that I can disinfect my kitchen rags and towels. I can disinfect my kitchen sponges. I don't love sponges in kitchens. That's a personal preference, but for those who do use a sponge, you can put straight vinegar on it because it is good at killing many, many, many microorganisms, and a lot of people don't realize that. Another thing about vinegar is that it will break down mineral deposits. So hard water deposits around your sinks, your faucets, your shower heads, all of those kinds of things, vinegar is wonderful for. Vinegar is also a water softener. So I can use my vinegar in my laundry again as well, and I love it for that. So vinegar is an item that I have on hand. Just a small pint size container of vinegar at many grocery stores is less than $2. The last time I priced it, it was $1.68, especially during pickling season. So right now, we can find some good prices on vinegar. I love vinegar. Okay, what are some things that we can also do with vinegar as far as stain removal and things like that? Anybody used it for that? It will help get stains out, juice stains, so in the laundry as well, not just for softening the water, but also getting certain kinds of stains out of the laundry. So I love vinegar for that. And again, we're going to look to some of these recipes in just a minute. All right. One of my other all-time favorites, not necessarily a kitchen product, but found in many of our homes, is rubbing alcohol. So I have rubbing alcohol on hand in big quantity all of the time because of all of the properties that rubbing alcohol brings to homemade cleaning supplies. And rubbing alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol, is also an ingredient in a lot of the cleaning products that you're buying commercially. So why not buy it in its full strength and then you dilute it with the water like they've already done? So in a lot of our cleaning products, we're paying for water. So if I have the straight rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, then I've got the opportunity to not have to pay for water and to make even better cleaning solutions. And that's one of the things that I really liked about a lot of the recipes that I've tested through the years is their effectiveness. So those of you who might be setting up classes, and we kind of talked about this as agents before we got started today, was putting together programs with this in mind and sharing recipes. But one of the things that I've done for some of my other classes is to show some before and afters. And on camera and what we were doing today was really difficult to do that. But with some of these cleaning solutions, to have products where you have those before and afters, the brightening, the stain removal, the cleaning of the shower head, all of those kinds of things to be done right there as before and after would be fun in a class, and I've done that before. So I love the rubbing alcohol for all of the things that it brings to cleaning solutions, and we're going to talk about, again, get to the recipes in just a minute, but I wanted to talk about some basic ingredients that we have on hand that are inexpensive. And I can't remember if I mentioned or not, but rubbing alcohol is only, for this size bottle, in a lot of my Walgreens, Rite Aid, grocery store pricing, I get them about 50 cents a bottle again. So not very expensive. Love rubbing alcohol. Another one that I use quite a bit of is hydrogen peroxide. And hydrogen peroxide, again, is something that is a disinfectant, something that is a brightener, something that will whiten, and I love having hydrogen peroxide on hand, and that's only 50 cents a bottle as well. Again, I'm watching for sales, I'm looking for bargains, that's me, but I love it for the cleaning that it does as well, and there's a couple of really fun recipes that we're going to address in just a second that use hydrogen peroxide. Well, there's a whole bunch of other good products to have on hand and available, and so let's go through a few more. Some of you are familiar with washing soda, not baking soda, but washing soda. You'll notice that they're put out by Arm & Hammer, but washing soda is a little bit different product and derivative than baking soda. And sometimes in your cleaning recipes that you guys might see on Pinterest or various and sundry other websites, you'll say that they can be used interchangeably. I have found typically, for me, I get better cleaning when they say to use, like if it says to use washing soda, then I use washing soda. It'll say in parentheses a lot of times in some of the recipes or some of my own recipes that I've concocted. If it says washing soda, it's because I found that washing soda actually does have a better cleaning property. Not that baking soda couldn't be used, but for the most part, when it says washing soda, I use washing soda. Again, a box like this is just under $3, not very expensive. Again, I don't have to be paying for water, and so I love having some washing soda on hand. Another thing that I always have on hand is 20 Mule Team Borax or boric acid. I've done a lot of research on boric acid and borax because I've gotten a lot of questions as I've taught these classes around the community about the toxicity. And one of the things that people look to homemade cleaning products for is the ability to go green or to have more biodegradable or less harmful chemicals. And so I looked into boric acid or borax because I was concerned too. And I guess the best way that I can put it in all of the research is, one, it's a natural occurring element, and too much of anything, salt or vinegar or lemon juice or whatever, can become toxic. And that's truly what the research that I have found leads to. So do we want to be careful of borax and inhaling the fumes as we're pouring the powder or product into a solution or that kind of thing? Yes, we do, just like we would with anything else. It's not as strong as ammonia in that regard, and I don't use ammonia a lot, but there are some things that I like ammonia for. But I love borax. Borax has grit. Borax has cleaning ability. It has deodorizing ability. It has disinfecting ability. Not as good as vinegar, but there's a lot of great properties about borax. And so know that, like anything else, you probably want to use it carefully, and again, in too much quantity, and obviously being ingested, it's not going to be good for us. But it's similar as salt would be and as vinegar would be, and that's, I was glad to find that out because I do get a lot of questions about that. So borax is another one. Borax is a little bit more expensive. In this size box, you're going to be at around almost the $4 mark, at least at most of the grocery stores. And I do find this in the laundry section of most of the grocery stores that we have here in the Weber County area. It's not difficult to find. Most of the grocery stores do have that. All right, now, there's a couple of other ingredients that we have in the kitchen that I use. One of them is lemon juice, and I can sometimes use lemon juice in place of vinegar. It's the acidity. Another one that some of us might have in the kitchen is citric acid, and again, I buy that in bulk. I use it, as Chris knows, in my lotions and potions. We use it in food preservation for acidifying tomatoes, so I've got citric acid on hand. We're going to talk about ways to use that. We all have salt, and salt is a great cleaner, and we're going to address a few recipes using salt. Cream of tartar is another one, and I love cream of tartar. And many of us do have cream of tartar on hand. Cream of tartar is just tartaric acid, which is a derivative from grapes or grape juice. You know the little crystals that we get in the bottom of grape juice when we've made our own grape juice and it forms that sediment and then it forms a crystal? Well, that's tartaric acid in its rawest form. And once we get that all cleaned up, it has become an acid for leavening in a lot of our baking. But cream of tartar is excellent for bringing the pH up and getting things like scorch marks off of irons or burned food off of pots and pans. So you'll find in the handout that there's a few recipes that call for cream of tartar. So I have cream of tartar. Another one that I have on hand, many of us don't, but I do, is meat tenderizer. And so, you're saying to yourself, what do you use meat tenderizer for? Well, one of the recipes that I have in your handout is for getting protein stains out of clothing. So baby spit up, baby diapers, underarm stains, because the oils and the proteins from our body needs to be broken down, and meat tenderizer has an enzyme in it that will break down those proteins. And so I have meat tenderizer on hand, not necessarily because I use it a lot on my meat, but because I use it in a couple of my cleaning solutions. So I love it for that. And again, just how on bibs and baby spit up, it gets all the kind of yellowing and dingy buildup from all of that. And so it breaks that down really, really nicely to put a soak together that has the meat tenderizer in it. And then another one that I have on hand is, and this is a little more expensive, this is probably the most expensive cleaning product that I have on hand, is Castile Soap. Dr. Bonner's is one of the brands. You can find it Target. If you have a Target in your area, or when you're into the more metropolitan area, you'll find it there. Also health food stores, but this isn't cheap no matter where you go. And so I use it sparingly. I do have some recipes that I like it best in, but it is a soap, and it is a concentrated soap, and I do like it. But a bottle this size, which is a quart, is from $10 to $12. So it's not something that a lot of us might have on hand. I forgot to mention one more thing, and that's the Fells up here in the very front. The Fells Nampa soap, bar soap. So this isn't a detergent bar like Irish Spring or Dove. This is a soap bar, homemade type with lye soap, and it can be used interchangeably with the Castile soap or the Dr. Bonner's. And I just use the Fells soap right on, like, ring around the collar. You know, my kids, the ring around the collar from their dark skin has really been lifted with that Fells soap. So I love using the soap for that. All right. With that in mind, I think I've listed the majority of my basic cleaning products outside of some of the ones you might have. There's also just like the Dawn dishwashing detergent. There is one that uses a little bit of ammonia, and we're going to talk about a furniture polish that uses olive oil. But for the majority, I think I've addressed the ones that I wanted to. And again, your handout's going to show you some of these recipes. So let's go into some of them right now. One of the very first ones that I wanted to talk about is cleaning silver. And this is on page 3 of your handout, if you've got that, if you've had a chance to print that off. If not, you'll have reference for that. Many of us have not only silverware, but we have silver jewelry, silver necklaces, silver rings, bracelets, that type of thing. And for me, it was really frustrating to sometimes even finding the polish or the paste to clean the silver, but also the expense of some of those, especially for the amount of silver. I grew up in Arizona, and we'd passed through the Navajo reservation, and I've bought a lot of silver through the years, and so I wanted to know how to clean that up as it tarnishes. And so on your handout, it talks about how easy it is to take some aluminum foil and some baking soda and a little bit of salt. And this is a really cool chemical reaction. And I kind of crumple up the aluminum foil, and then I open it up. And the reason that I do this is because it holds the baking soda and gives some texture to holding the soda. And then I will put this crumpled up, again, straighten it out just a little bit. I'll put this crumpled soda, or this crumpled aluminum, on the bottom of a glass pan or even an aluminum pan, because you can also use it on another aluminum pan if you wanted to. So that goes into the bottom of my 9x13 baking dish, if you wanted to use that, or whatever, a glass bowl. That goes down in the bottom. And then I set my silver jewelry into the bowl, the bracelets, whatever, into the bowl, and I sprinkle some baking soda, a little bit of salt. You'll see that on the handout. And then I pour hot water over my jewelry and over the baking soda, and I just let that sit. It cleans it right up. It polishes it beautifully. Depending on how tarnished it was, I can take that out and just, with a soft rag, immediately polish up my silver. I don't know if any of you have seen that, done that, used that before, but it is so slick. I have some silver candelabras. I have candlesticks. Like I mentioned, even just my jewelry. It has been such a nice thing and so simple to have on hand and a quick solution for cleaning up silver. So you'll see that on there. Did I hear a question? Okay. Another thing that I love is the furniture polish that's on page 3 as well. I've kind of starred and highlighted some of the things that I wanted to point out to you. On page 3 is the furniture polish that uses the olive oil and the lemon. You can use lemon juice, the commercial bottled lemon juice, but the recommendation, and they said that there's something about the limonene in the raw lemon that is actually more effective than what I guess is found in the commercial lemon juice. I've done both. I've been happy with both. So it's up to you. But many of us will have lemon juice commercially bottled on hand more often than we'll have lemons necessarily on hand. So that mixture is just the olive oil and the lemon juice. If you're just doing a little bit of polishing, maybe you've got some watermarks and that kind of thing, you can just use a teaspoon of olive oil and a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, and that works just fine if you've just got small spot jobs that you wanted to do. But this is really nice for cleaning up furniture and polishing. I use it on my piano. I use it on my cabinets in my kitchen. It's really nice for polishing wood furniture. So that's a real simple one and often one that we haven't thought about or haven't known about as far as furniture polish. Another one that I wanted to mention is just general disinfecting. And so this recipe is also on page 3 of your handout. And that's to combine a couple of teaspoons of borax with some vinegar and some water. And again, I can use this for spraying down the counters, for cleaning cutting boards, for cleaning around sinks and faucets, doorknobs, that type of thing. I know that they've run some tests on, for example, salmonella and the effectiveness of vinegar or lemon juice actually for killing the salmonella. High acidic environments do kill salmonella, but I would probably need a stronger solution than this dilution that's here on page 3 for the salmonella. So in something like a cutting board where you've done raw chicken, instead of using the chlorine bleach, I would probably just use the straight vinegar. Did I say vanilla or vinegar? Oh, I've got an audience here, by the way, who's helping keeping me on track. All of a sudden I thought, did I say vinegar or vanilla? So keep me going here. Oh, another thing too is there are a couple of essential oils that are fungicides and disinfectants, and one of those is tea tree oil, and you can get that at almost every health food store, and you only need a few drops of that, and the tea tree oil can actually be added to strengthen the disinfecting power of the recipe that is on your handout there. So I love being able to disinfect without going to the bleach and the toxicity and that kind of thing, and I don't know, just the concern with bleach everywhere is at my house was a concern, especially with my kids there. It seemed like bleach got on everything if my kids were anywhere around. Okay, so some of the other recipes I wanted to talk about. It seems like there's been a lot of hype the last little while on the phosphate being taken out of dishwasher detergent. It was taken out a few years ago on laundry detergent too. And so what happened when we took the phosphates out is we didn't get as good a cleaning ability, not only in our laundry, but in the case of our dishwasher detergent, we were getting the white film buildup, the minerals, all of that kind of thing, and it was becoming really problematic for the consumer, and they were very frustrated. And making my own dishwasher detergent has been so nice to be able to have that on hand with some of these products. And so on page 4 of your handout, and again, I'm referencing that because I want you to know where these are at, and I wanted to highlight some. 1 cup of borax, so again, my 20 Mule Team borax, 1 cup of baking soda, a tablespoon of salt, or a half a cup of table salt, sorry. There's a mixture where you can just make up 1 batch at a time. And then a half a cup of citric acid. And keep that in a good airtight.
Teresa?
Yeah.
Where do you get your citric acid in bulk?
I get my citric acid in bulk from Pine Meadows in Provo, and you can order it online, and you can get it in 1 pound, 5 pound. You can get it by the pound. I know that Kitchen Needs in both Ogden and Salt Lake also carry citric acid by the pound or in bulk. And it's
So does Orson Geeky.
Oh, good. Thanks, Margie. I had not tried there. It's very inexpensive. 1 pound of citric acid up here in my area is about $2.63. So it's not very expensive. And I love it for the dishwasher. This will keep the dishes nice and bright, and because of the citric acid and the acidity that's in that, the sheeting action of the water is wonderful for keeping the glasses clear and not milky and cloudy. So hence the citric acid.
What is that recipe? I'm sorry.
It's on page 4.
What's that called?
It's called dishwasher detergent. Is it not on your handout? Okay. Guys, is it on your handout?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Maybe Judy accessed the wrong handout for my folks here. So I'll get that corrected for my folks here. Okay, so love that one. There's also a product commercially called Lemi Shine that sometimes you'll find in some of the homemade recipes for dishwasher detergent. It's a great product, but guys, the base of Lemi Shine is citric acid. So why not go straight to the citric acid? And so hence that recipe, and I've really liked that one. Another one that we use at my house, and I love it, is in the next column on page 4, and that's the natural soft scrub. I like to have a little bit of grit in some of my cleaning to get the build up around the tub, you know, the ring around the tub, the toilet, around faucets. Just sometimes we need something that has a little bit of grit to it, but we don't want a lot of abrasion. So that natural soft scrub with the baking soda and the liquid soap, just like your Dawn dish detergent, is just fine. You can also use the Castile if you wanted to. It's great. Again, it's more expensive than your Dawn dish detergent is going to be. But I love that natural soft scrub. And all you do is you just mix those together. If you want it to be a little bit of a disinfectant, then you add a few drops of some kind of essential oil that is a disinfectant or antiseptic type oil, like the tea tree oil. Lavender oil is also one of those. Peppermint is, but peppermint for me is way too strong. I don't use that one. Rosemary is another one that's a disinfectant or an antiseptic essential oil that you can add to your soft scrub if you wanted to. So I love that one. Okay, a few more that I wanted to go on to, and I find it to be a problem area in my house is the oven. Things spill, and so I want to have that cleaned up. And so on page 5, I've got a couple of different oven cleaners to get the grime and the buildup off without having to use the spray foams. Those to me are so toxic. I can't even handle them. So I really like these solutions for cleaning out the oven and the baked on buildup, drops and spills that happen inside an oven. The very first one, cleaner number 1, is on page 5 that has the liquid dish soap, lemon juice. This does have a little bit of bleach in it, but I'm going to tell you, I have made this many times without the bleach, and I've been perfectly happy with the results. So what I probably ought to do on the handout is just let you know that that's now, in my opinion, optional. That isn't something that I found needs to necessarily be there. So this is a great one that you just mix all the ingredients together, and then you rub it on, sponge it on into the oven, and then you allow it to sit for about 45 minutes. And you'll notice that the majority of these are the very same. The tried and true vinegar recipe with the baking soda, the hand soap, and the vinegar again is another one. Even just putting salt, pouring salt, this is one of the other ones listed, on the grime and the burnt on buildup that's in your oven, especially for the bottom of the oven. Just put a nice good layer of salt in there, and then just sprinkle the lemon juice over that and let that set for a few minutes, and then again you can brush that up and wipe that off, and it works really well. Even just the straight baking soda with some hot water and making a paste and letting that sit works really well. I've had good success with all of these. I haven't bought oven cleaner for years. I've been doing some form of these options for years on cleaning the oven, and I've absolutely loved it for that. Okay, a couple of other ones that I want to mention are back to the bathroom again, and the scum and soap buildup and all of that kind of thing, and these will start on page 6 and 7 of your handout. And again, ladies, we'll get those for you. One of them that I don't have in the handout, but I just recently started trying, so I'm going to give it to you, and then you can write it down. But this one is great for shower soap scum buildup. I just get so frustrated. Handling the ring around the tub is pretty easy, but the soap scum in a shower for me has been a constant frustration. And maybe it's because as my kids were growing up, we hardly ever took baths. We took showers, and it just constant, all of us in the showers in our house, it seems like the soap scum buildup was just a pain. So this is real easy. It's 1 cup of vinegar hot. You heat the vinegar. This is really a cool solution to soap scum. So you heat the vinegar, and then you add, after the vinegar is nice and hot, you add 1 cup, and I use Dawn, but another good liquid dish detergent, whatever it is for you. Okay, and all you do is, and it really cool, it turns cool. I mean, it, like as in neat. It goes thick. It has a different texture that I guess the hot vinegar reacting with the liquid dish detergent. And so I rub that on, and it'll go on as a real thick base. And then I let that sit for just a few minutes. And then all I have to do
Teresa?
Uh-huh.
Where did you find that recipe with the hot vinegar? In your handout?
Sorry, it's not in the handout. This is one you'll want to add
okay.
to your handout.
Okay.
I forgot about it until I was home last night going through everything, and I went, wait a second, that's not in my handout. And I've used that one the last few months, and I love it.
Okay, now will you repeat it then?
You bet. It's 1 cup. You bet. It's 1 cup of vinegar, hot. So I heat up my vinegar. You can do it in a saucepan. You can do it in a measuring glass cup in the microwave. It doesn't matter. Just heat up your vinegar and then add 1 cup of liquid dish detergent.
Okay.
So Dawn is the one
Thank
that
you.
And guys, this size of Dawn is $1, just over $1 at my grocery stores. So again, it's not expensive. I know that you can find cheaper, like Gain and Joy, other dish detergents. I like Dawn. It seems more concentrated. Some of the less expensive ones seem more watery. So I like more concentration. I can put the water in myself and dilute things. So it's 1 and 1. 1 cup of vinegar, hot, 1 cup of Dawn dish detergent. It thickens up really cool and goes on as a paste. You let that sit, and then you just take some kind of an easy tuffy scrubber, something that's got a little bit of grit to it, or just a good heavy knobby rag, not a soft. You'll want to have some kind of texture to it to give you the cleaning power. You can use a brush if you want to, a scrub brush if you want to. But you don't even need that much elbow grease. You really don't. Climb in the shower and down you go with the walls, and it lifts the soap scum right off. You know, to me, it just builds up more down at the bottom of the showers. Have you guys noticed? Oh, I just hate it. So anyway, that's one of my favorites, and it's not on my handout, but it's one I've been using for the last few months, year or so, and I forgot to add that to the handout. Also, the tile and grout cleaner on page 7, I really, really like. It's a half a cup of baking soda. Guys, the only thing that you can't mix with ammonia is bleach, and you all knew that. So I can still mix baking soda, vinegar, all of those are perfectly fine, non-toxic. There's no fumes associated with these combinations of solutions and recipes that we've got here on the handout for you. So that one is the baking soda, ammonia, and vinegar, and then again, you dilute it down with water, and it makes a great grout cleaner. I've got tile floors in part of my home, and it is wonderful for cleaning up the grout and brightening up the grout around my house. Absolutely love it for that. Wonderful. Okay, so those are my kind of tub, tile, shower, bathroom kinds of cleaners. One of the ones that I wanted to mention as well and highlight, again because we've got these ingredients already on hand, is that on page 7 for pet accidents on your carpet. This does use the hydrogen peroxide, and it's there at the bottom of the column on page 7 that has the vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, some liquid dish soap again, lemon juice, and baking soda. This is really handy to have on hand for cats and dogs and accidents of all sorts. Love having that one on hand. So one of the things that I do with my cleaning products is I put them, because some of them I use all of the time, I'll put them in plastic spray bottles that you can get at the dollar store, and then I'll just write on them what the solution is, and I consistently use that for replenishing my all-purpose cleaner or my underarm yellowing, remover, that kind of thing. So some other ones that I want to have on hand happen to now go into the laundry. So I want to talk about a few of the laundry products for just a second. All right, so we're moving on to page 8 and 9. Any questions so far on anything else that we've talked about? Got to watch the time. Okay. Stains in the laundry are a huge frustration for the majority of us. Probably two of my biggest are white t-shirts, white Sunday shirts, white blouses, getting the yellowing underarm buildup. Nobody likes to talk about it. Everybody, when they call, you guys have these calls too. You know this. They're like, I hate to ask this, but so what do we do for that yellowing, build-up, dingy underarm stain that gets on all of our white shirts, blouses, t-shirts, that kind of thing? So I've given you a couple. This is on page 9. I've given you a couple of recipes for that, but I want to add one to this that, again, is another one of my new options, I guess, for you. This one uses 1 part Dawn or liquid dish detergent and 2 parts hydrogen peroxide. So it's the hydrogen peroxide with the Dawn, okay? So 1 part Dawn or liquid dish detergent and 2 parts hydrogen peroxide. So 1 cup to 2 cups. And that's how I make it up, and I put it in my spray bottle. And then I just spray that on. I can use this on old stains for underarms and let it sit for a couple of hours and then put it through the laundry. Or if I'm starting to see buildup, or even at every time I do whites, I'll take the guys' t-shirts and white shirts, and I'll just spray on their underarms before I put it right into the wash. Just a couple of quick sprays and it'll keep that buildup. If you've got a bunch of buildup and you need to break it down, this is a good combination. So that's one you'll need to add to your handout. 1 part Dawn, 2 parts hydrogen peroxide. You've got another one there that until I started using the Dawn and the hydrogen peroxide, and actually they're about equal in their effectiveness. I like them both. But the other one, because I don't love ammonia. I try to use ammonia as little as possible, but I loved this solution for the underarm stains, and that's on page 9, the 1/2 cup ammonia, 4 cups of water, and 1/4 of a cup of the liquid detergent. And that's another great one for the underarm stain buildup. So use that. I think you'll be really happy with it. It does make all the difference. All the body oils will be broken down. You can put a little bit of meat tenderizer in there if you wanted to. As you'll notice on the first column of page 9, it shows you a little solution using the meat tenderizer to break down the body oils and the proteins and things like that that are in our body oils. So either one of those or the new one that I just gave you. I like them all. I've even thrown meat tenderizer in the other auctions, in the other recipes. So love it for that. The second one that is one of my biggest, next to just general stains, and we'll get there in just a second, but my second biggest hassle, I guess, in laundry is just keeping generally whites white. I don't know about you, but that is a real problem for me, is keeping whites white. And agents, maybe you guys can help me here too. Are you starting to get a lot more calls on whites white in front load energy efficient, the high efficiency washing machines?
Absolutely, yes.
Yep, good. I'm so glad. I am seeing more and more calls come in. People are so frustrated with those HE, the high efficiency machines. They use less water. The concentration of detergent is supposed to be equally as efficient for less water, but truly, I've had so many people frustrated. This isn't necessarily a great step or solution because it has to be done in advance, so it's a pre-soak to keeping whites white. So whether I'm using an HE machine or not, it doesn't matter. This is a pre-soak that I'm doing. And you'll see that on here. I've got it highlighted on page 10. There's a couple of different ones there, but I've done this one on page 10, the homemade fabric whitener that does use the bleach, and this is the one time that in my cleaning solutions I have brought bleach into the scenario. You'll notice my other options for keeping whites white don't have the bleach, but this one I have tried and used, and I have been so happy with it. This is from Jill. Debbie, she's up your way. And I tried this, and I've given her credit because I haven't modified the recipe at all. A lot of these recipes I have tweaked and modified and come up with, and where I've used them exactly off of their source has been listed. But this is one I have loved for keeping whites white. And I've been very, very happy with it. With my husband's white shirts, white t-shirts, we have a lot of white during the summer, white capris, all of that has just been white sheets. So again, for what it's worth, it is one that it does have the bleach in it, but I have liked it for that. Okay, another one that I have to mention, that I have to bring up, and many of you, is this like one of your favorites in your laundry? I don't know about you, but I get a lot of people that just will not get rid of their Oxyclean. So here is a homemade Oxyclean recipe, and I use this for the spots and the stains as well as just the brightening. Okay, and this one is not on your handout. So there's 3 that are not on your handout. All right, this is the third one. The third one is the homemade Oxyclean, and you can put that right in the laundry section of your handout. It's easy. It's 1 cup of water, 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide, and a half a cup of baking soda. I have used this on spots on my carpet. I have used this on mustard stains, grass stains. We just had a barbecue this last weekend with a bunch of friends. Just all of the ketchup and barbecue sauce and mustard stains on my tablecloths. It was wonderful. So you can mix it up as a spray bottle. You can just mix it up as a solution and rub it on to the spot, the stain. You can use a soft brush if it's, the stain is sat for a while until you get to the laundry. Whatever works for you. If you use the baking soda, or not if you use the baking soda, if you use a spray bottle to keep it in, you're going to need to shake it up really good because the baking soda doesn't fully and totally dissolve. It stays in suspension and then it'll settle out, but it doesn't stay dissolved. All right. So that's your homemade OxyClean. Try that, guys, and tell me what you think. I have really, really liked that. Another thing that you can just use as a straight, and I think I mentioned this as a general stain remover on the laundry section, is I can use straight baking powder and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide just to make a paste. So baking soda and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and just make a paste and rub that on my stain as well. So it's kind of like the solution for OxyClean. It works wonderfully. Okay? All right. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to. Are there any questions that you guys have about any of, I didn't, one more, sorry. Homemade laundry detergent. I know you guys are getting lots of questions about this. So in the laundry section, there is both a powdered and a gel laundry soap recipe for you that uses the Fels Nampa soap, the washing soda, and the baking, or the borax powder, excuse me. And I wanted to show you this. I want you to see what this liquid one looks like. It looks like a lumpy cream of wheat cereal. I don't know. This is the one that I use. I like it better in my laundry than the powder. I've had powder because I don't use hot water in a lot of my laundry. I'll just use a warm or a cold. And I found that homemade powdered laundry detergent doesn't dissolve as well. And maybe some of you who have tried that have had that same problem. So I have gone to making up a big bucket. You guys, some of you have seen my buckets. This is just part of it because it makes a couple of gallons. But I have a big 5-gallon bucket at home, and I just make it up in that. But this is what it looks like. So don't panic when you see this become kind of this lumpy gel solution for your laundry detergent. It's very easy to make. I grate my Fels soap in my blender. I just pulse it on my blender to get it all grated up. Then I mix it like it says with the washing soda and the borax and the hot water. Slick. It works really well. Now, we do get questions on this, and I think I've mentioned this before in some of my discussions or classes with you guys when we've asked or had questions from the public about the energy efficiency machines, the HE machines, the high efficiency, and whether or not you can use this. And the answer is only if you're willing to take the risk in consumer redress if there were any problems, because the HE machines request, suggest, require that we use the HE detergents. And this does not qualify. While it's effective, while I love it, while it's cents on the dollar, I can make it up and have it on hand in 2-gallon quantities, it doesn't qualify. We talk to the soaps and detergents people now called the Cleaning Institute or whatever, I can't remember the name fully, but a couple of years ago when we were back at National Conference, and that was what they said, that we would, as consumers, lose the potential of consumer redress if that were an issue. It's not It's not something that you can decide for the public that might be asking. But I have friends who use it in their HE machines all the time and have been as happy with it as the HE detergent. So, I guess it's just the buyer beware or consumer beware that the redress wouldn't be there if there was a problem.
Teresa, this is Scott.
Yeah. My time up?
This is Scott. We need to wrap up. We have another IVC starting at 10.
Okay.
So if you'd go ahead and close, I'd appreciate that.
There's some books, references out there, so if you want those, one of them is Naturally Clean Home, the other one is How to Clean Practically Everything, and the other one is Clean Your House and Everything in It. So those are some of the references that I've used. Thanks. Any last minute questions? I heard one.
One quick one. My kids are buying a short sale that went into bankruptcy, so the house needs a lot of cleaning. On that grimy stuff that's on the kitchen cupboards, how do you get that grimy, greasy dirt off cupboards so they can paint it?
The baking soda works really well with the Dawn. I know it's soap scum, but grease filled up the hood, all of that kind of stuff works really well. It doesn't strip the wood. Obviously, there's commercial products, but the age-old one with the boiled linseed oil is probably the very best. And it's in one of Leona's old publications. Call me if you want that.
Thanks.